Well, thank you very much for joining me here again at Tyrant Slayer Studios. As always, I have some extraordinary news to present to you. This is the great Johnny Flynn of the state of Connecticut. He is a senatorial candidate. I believe he is running against Richard Blumenthal. He can tell you himself. He is welcome to use my content at any time. This man is fighting the good fight and exposing corruption on a level unseen by this community since I've ever set foot inside. An extraordinary American and an extraordinary man, very talented, got a great radio voice. He's well seasoned. He is not a young man. He is not an old man. He is a well seasoned veteran of this land of ours. And he was very intrigued, we'll say. His interest was piqued in regard to my family court case and some of the things that have happened, and he's given me an opportunity on his platform to explain to his viewers, which, by the way, this is the great Johnny Flynn's channel. As you can see, he's only got 668 subscribers, but that's because he had just recently lost his YouTube channel. So if you could get on over here, check out his work. This is the video I did with him the night before last. Please watch that. Please check out what's going on with the capious mortgage fraud in the state of Connecticut and the billions of dollars being stolen, the corruption between the courthouses, the Connecticut State Police, the Attorney General's office, a number of judges. This guy's got a lot of very important news and a lot of things in motion all at one time, and he is an activist in his own right. So without further ado, we're going to dive into my interview with him, in which he shares with me some very valuable contacts and some very tremendously powerful insight, and is willing to provide a helping hand. Introduce me to the proper people to get me the help that I so desperately need and that my daughter needs. This has all always been about my daughter. This particular focus on my channel, this courthouse, this family court case, most of the police activity that's documented here on my channel has, in one way or another, a lot to do with what I'm facing every day in regard to my daughter, who's being neglected and abused. And the state's aware of it and seems to enjoy facilitating it and torturing me here. It's absolutely absurd. This guy realizes it, and he's taken a moment to give me his platform and try to help me best he can. So without further ado, let's get to the great Johnny Flynn, senatorial candidate for 2022 Senate race here in the state of Connecticut. I believe he's running against Richard Blumenthal. He and I are going to get together with some other folks over the next week or two. We're hashing things out now as we speak. And I hope you guys tune in and check it out. Check out his work. Please give him a thumbs up on his content. Subscribe to his channel. Let him know that I sent you. And together, united, we can make 2022 the people's year. Here we go. Check it out.
Hey, it's Johnny Flynn, running for U.S. Senate in Connecticut. And 3 or 4 people per day call me with very, very outrageous stories all the time. And there's a guy on the phone right now who's a blogger who's had run-ins, and if you talk, I mean, we just met about 10 minutes ago, but he has a case where he has 4 boys, you know, twin 7-year-olds, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and I've got him here on the phone right here, and I'm not going to share too much about it. I will show you his page, though, on YouTube, and there it is. It's called Tyrant Slayer Studios, and I'm highlighting one short. I'm going to play it when we're done. I hope you go to this guy's page and play it, because what I'm hearing is that he has a 13-year-old daughter. I'm going to let him correct whatever statement I'm about to make. He has a daughter, right, she's 13, and she's terrified about living with the mother. Now, the father, who's here on the phone, lost custody to the lady, who they were never married, is my understanding. Now, let me just explain a little. Try to keep it in the simmering pot cooking, and not really try to embellish too much. But I'm going to have the father speak in a moment. And I'm finding out more and more cases where judges violate thus pro se litigator, self-litigated person's rights under the Constitution, and how in this case right here that we're talking about, 4 boys living with the father, the girl living with the mom he has mentioned is a heroin addict. Okay, take it or leave it. The people, transients coming through the house, take it or leave it, have caused fear in his daughter's eyes, so much that she can't express herself and may be in fear of what's happening to her. And he just made a comment to me which started me to get permission to do this 2-minute video. We're going to take it a little further. I want you to watch this 1A audit Rockville Family Court Tyrant Slayer Studio video, and please comment. Why? We're doing a human trafficking event coming up soon, okay? It will be announced. It's a known person. She's claiming it's a high-ranking...
Listen, I just got to pause the video for a moment and point out the fact here that we're looking at his YouTube page here. This would be, he's logged in here under his account. And looks like Rogue Nation is second in line in his subscriptions, and I just think that's outstanding. Like, we got Tyrant Slayer Studios, Rogue Nation, PBS NewsHour. That's our public service station here, public access television here in the state of Connecticut. Be Social TV, live now from Fox, Forbes Breaking News, Fox News, Yankee T News. Justin Paglino. I'd love to see the rest of his subscriptions. This guy is great, guys. Pay attention to what he says. He's been tremendously helpful. I've got a great sense of relief in meeting him and having an opportunity to speak on his platform. I'm very eager to meet the individuals he's going to mention in a very short time. Please listen closely to what he says, especially if you're one of my favorite trolls. I think this is going to be very informative and enlightening to everyone, even my toughest of critics. Let me put it like this. This guy makes me look like a toddler, and I'm very eager to learn as much as I can from him and his group of extraordinary friends, which seem to be, from what I've been told, in a position to be able to help my daughter and I in a way that I never imagined possible. So, enough for me. Let's listen to the man.
Democrat that trafficked her. So, I don't want to go off on a tangent. I've got this friend of mine. We're newly found friends. I'm sure we're going to be tight. Of course, he's saying, promote my page, and I say, let me help you get where you want to be. And he says, Johnny, I'm 100% down with your program. I've seen some of your stuff. Okay, fine. We're just starting. I'm just starting. This is our year, 2022, to right the wrongs that the judicial system is handing down, which is not justice, not fairness, not a lot of things. So I just want to introduce the speaker, the father of the girl. I want you to talk for 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Don't speak too quickly. I already noticed your rapid fire. Let the people absorb what you're about to tell them.
This guy's got a very keen sense. He's a good people person. He right off the rip got a sense of, my math mind. I'm a very fast boom, 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 boom kind of guy, and it's hard. I understand sometimes, guys, and I might even do it here on my channel on occasion. I understand. I move kind of fast, and when I'm worked up or emotional or overwhelmed with a situation, I tend to try to explain things really fast in my effort to acquire support, and it's very overwhelming to people. And you'll have to excuse me. That's just the way I was made. I apologize. But I do admire his keen senses and ability to kind of put a pin in me to some degree after just speaking with me for a mere 10-15 minutes prior to doing this video. So kudos to you, Mr. Flynn. We need a man like that within our chambers and in our official offices. We need someone sharp and swift like that to be able to be adaptable and calm, collected, and make the best decisions possible on behalf of the constituents that you would represent. I wish you the best of luck in your senatorial campaign. All right, let's get back to it.
Because living in fear that you can't help your daughter probably keeps you awake at night if you're a good father, and you sound like you're a great father, from what I can already tell. I explained about my kids to him. He explained about his kids to me. Though, okay, the state police in Connecticut is weaponized, in my opinion, and I can prove it, okay? Who do you know that has 1,200 cash stolen checks totaling $50 million in Connecticut that the state police were notified in 2000 about as it was occurring? So I have financial crime history as an investigator of money laundering. He is 40. I'm 58. I want to hear from him. Please pay full attention. Please follow his page. Please follow my page, because what we're accumulating here is life struggles in Connecticut with corrupt prosecutors like our chief state's attorney, Richard Colangelo, who should be in jail for collecting a bribe on a murder that occurred on 10/29/2019. I know the 6 cops that did it. I'm going to give him all the time he wants. I'm at 5 minutes. Okay, Pop says it's your turn. So, tell us your first name at least, okay?
Yes, sir. First of all, I must thank you for giving me your platform here.
Oh, wait till we work it. Go ahead.
It's a great privilege and honor to be with the great Johnny Flynn this evening here on the fine evening of January the 5th, 2022. Right. And as you said, it is the People's Year. That's a message where I'm going with my channel this year, Tyrant Slayer Studios. This is going to be the People's Year for justice. We are going to unite for a change.
And we're going after the judges, so you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got it. We are going after judges. We're going after marshals. We're going after specific Connecticut State Police. We're going after Matthew Kadansky.
Who's that?
Attorney. He's the state's attorney over there at
I don't know him.
Park Street, Rockville Family Court.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Excellent. Now, if you highlight cases to me that you know about, and I'm sure there's plenty, his boss, I have a problem with. Let's talk. Promise you keep the channels. I mean, obviously, I had a run-in the other day with a mental patient who is very high functioning, but he had his house stolen by mortgage fraud with Judge Spader. So I'm going to try to help him, and I put him in touch with the people that can. The media, we have a connection to. The state's advocate, we have a connection to. And now 10 legal minds that are pro se litigators working together. You understand?
Did you guys hear that? I hope so.
And you sound like you fit the bill. Go ahead.
So Judge Barry Armada, who is involved with my family court case, was the judge who replaced the self-recused Mazurowski. Now, Judge Mazurowski was the original judge presiding over my family court case in which my 13-year-old daughter, then 11, turning 12, is involved in. Now, the first thing that was wrong with this case was they never gave me time to find reasonable, viable representation. And they forced me, here's a crazy story for you.
How much money did the attorney want up front?
I'm sorry?
How much money did the attorney want up front?
Nothing right away. Here's what happened. In response to me keeping my daughter here in my home in the month of May, when she informed me that she was terrified of returning home, this is in May 2020.
Right.
Despite my efforts to find out what was going on and assess the situation with my ex, her mother, she was not willing to work with me or provide me any information or disclose anything that may or may not have happened in that house.
Right.
So at that time I said, we'll see you in court. And she filed for an emergency ex parte application.
Are there transients coming in and out?
I'm sorry?
Are there transients coming in and out of the house?
Yes, but at this time in May of 2020, I was not sure. All I had been made aware of is that my daughter was terrified, physically trembling and crying, telling me she didn't want to go back to her mother's house and she didn't want to talk to her mother.
How does she like her being with her four brothers? Don't you think that would be the natural thing?
She loved it. She loved it. She immediately embraced the role as big sister. She used to like pretending she was their teacher. She would often engage in the science projects we conduct here outside, getting closer to nature, learning about
sounds reasonable.
Camping, survival techniques,
Okay.
Foraging tools. My daughter loved it, and she was very happy here. I was able to successfully keep her.
So they were 3, 4, and 5 at the time, right?
Yeah, we got twins. She just got 4 brothers. We named all the boys after the Kennedy family, with the exception of Ted, because he was a black sheep trader piece of shit.
Well, John is my favorite.
But Jack and Robert are they got the namesake of the Kennedys. They're the twins. We are huge history buffs, and
everybody likes John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, and then we have Patrick. Patrick is their younger brother. He's named after John and Jackie's son
right.
who died of RDS shortly after he was born.
Right.
And then our youngest, William Thomas Fitzgerald Riley.
Wow.
Fitzgerald in there, a very powerful name, I must say. And my daughter, Araya. A very big family, a very happy family when it is together. It's been a very troubling.
When was the last time you saw the 13-year-old? When was the last time you saw her? Christmas? No?
I haven't even been able to speak with her despite court order yielding daily parental access. I haven't been able to speak to my daughter since August of last year.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so let me correct that. That was an error on my part. It is now 2022, and being that the new year is so fresh upon us, I misspoke. I have not been able to speak to my daughter since August of 2021, but I haven't seen her since October of 2020. I still have her Christmas presents from 2020 wrapped up in my bedroom right now. But back to it.
And you have joint.
So I've been relying upon police and doing well-being checks,
Right.
Which often lead to nothing but sheer aggravation and terrible encounters with our law enforcement officers who,
of course,
have gone as far.
Do you have to
as
rely on the
using-
state police, or can you use local? You use local and state?
Yeah, local and state police.
Okay.
I've reached out to both agencies,
Okay.
and on numerous occasions, they're just not willing to enforce the law or investigate
Right.
criminal violations of Connecticut general statutes.
Right.
They insist that criminal violations of our laws are civil matters that they have to handle in court.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So here we go. If there's heroin...
I have recorded all of these conversations.
Right.
I have recorded and video recorded.
Right.
All these phone calls, I've recorded all of them. I've gone to the police department. The former chief of police of Vernon PD was actually handling all of the Freedom of Information Act requests. The custodian of records over there would forward any sort of complaints or records requests to him for some reason, and many of the records I've been after involving this family court case and my investigation into the police conduct regarding my requests for service and things involving this court case, they've been obstructed and forwarded to the city attorney, and there's literally a outstanding Freedom of Information Act request that goes back, I think it's got to be over 6 months old now.
Yeah, they have 90 days, I thought.
It's totally against the law what they're doing. They're violating federal and state law, and they're using...
That's a fact, ladies and gentlemen.
The city attorney, who's never reachable, and in fact, it seems as though Vernon has contracted with a number of attorneys that they consider city attorneys, none of which have any offices in our town hall. It seems like they're subcontracted out and actually own their own.
So the process is cumbersome at a minimum and not fully functioning.
Yeah, to say the least.
And maybe it might be intentional, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The police seem to be a part of some sort of racket that is the Connecticut family court system.
Well, Shelton's worse. I can guarantee you that. But okay.
Getting back
Looks like we're going to spend some time in Shelton.
to that.
Yep. Give us details about the daughter. Tell us what you think might be happening. I know you can't really...
All right. So basically,
You know what I mean?
I started investigating what could be happening. I went straight down to Vernon PD, being
Right.
a government accountability activist with
Right.
my own channel on YouTube.
Right.
I knew how to access public record.
Right.
And I went down there and inspected and retained copy of
Okay.
a year's worth of police reports involving her address, and
Okay.
uncovered
How many
some
reports?
very dramatic events taking place.
Almost 24.
And that
Like
involved
what?
That my daughter.
Arrests? Drug arrests?
There were arrests made. Yeah,
How many?
There's been domestic. I've gotten body cam footage of some of the things that have happened in that house.
There's been a number of arrests made, and then there's been times where there should have been arrests and investigations should have ensued, but the police totally failed to do their job. Like stepping on broken glass in front of my daughter's door while my ex is rifling all of her stuff into garbage bags and leaving her abandoned in a bathtub where she can't even wash herself. You know, when my daughter, when I decided to keep her here in May of 2020, I come to the realization that she couldn't brush her own hair, and she's 11 years old. She's been living with her mom. Can't brush her own hair. She was having issues with her bowels, to put it mildly, when she came to my house. And I rectified all those things within a matter of weeks. Terrible what's happening to my kid. And a lot of these people online that are giving me hell and sending me death threats. I'm doing a video on the death threats that I've been receiving since Schrodinger did his masterful piece of defamatory context. Everything that he's stated in that video is false. And to go as far as relishing some of the things, I would say, because I've never watched the video. I've only fingered through the timeline of it and looked for the thumbnails and the, things to report. But basically I saw him reference a padlock for my bike. The lead time on the very expensive lock that I purchased for my $2,500 Rad Wagon 4 made by Rad Power Bikes It's an $1,899 bike stock, but with what I put into it, it was closer to $2,600. And the lock that I purchased for it, the lead time upon that lock, due to the way we have to live our lives these days, is extraordinarily long. And the courthouse doesn't have a bicycle rack to lock the bike up to anyway. The court doesn't have a means to accommodate bicycles, which is a shame unto itself. So I guess that'll be one of the things that we get fixed and addressed when holding this courthouse and our public servants within it accountable for their egregious and unlawful actions.
And any human being with a rational mind would determine that that environment is absolutely not an environment any child should ever have
Now,
to be a
do
part
you
of.
suspect that some of these people have approached your daughter inappropriately? Do you suspect this?
Absolutely, 100%. I believe that's why my daughter is so frozen in fear and unable to express herself.
The mother of my child, the convicted felon who was on, who had warrants and things and ended up in a halfway house after getting pulled over in my ex's car with felony possession of a firearm, crack cocaine, and heroin, and my daughter in the car. He called me up from a halfway house. I don't know how he got my number, and started yelling at me about how we have to have a conversation. I had no idea who he was. I was driving. I told him I'd have to call him later. I tried him back. He didn't answer. He said he wasn't even supposed to be calling me because he was in a halfway house. But I've got an entire recorded conversation of him telling me what's been going on in that house and telling me what my ex has been doing, swearing to me how sorry he was. And at the end of that conversation, I felt like he might have molested my kid. There is going to be a tremendous, well put together documentary about all of this. And I hope that it would inspire people to fight. There's a lot of fathers who've been screwed over by the court system in the state, and it's absolutely wrong. And I'm hoping that I can create a galvanizing precedence here that kind of sweeps across the state and the fruited plain, if you will.
And cannot tell me what has happened over there. All she could tell me was...
Okay, by the way, I have a lovely 80-year-old aunt who's lovely, okay? She's a psychoanalyst, right? And if you ever need her, she'll be there. She can talk. She would love to talk to your daughter.
What's really strange about the court case is...
I'm absolutely going to take him up on that offer. I first of all, I love old elderly women. They come from such a different period in our country, and they have so much more class. I'm not cutting down the women of today. I'm just saying there's something special about the distinguished older generation that is just so lovable and comforting, relieving the wisdom, the old spirit, the tradition. There's a lot of good qualities to the older folks, and being a psychoanalyst, I would assume she's got to be extremely intelligent. So I'm very intrigued, and once the smoke settles here and things, and Araya is comfortable, I'm sure I can arrange meeting this kind lady and break some bread with them and let her hang out with my daughter for a little while, see what she thinks. It would be fantastic. I'd love the insight, and it would be very helpful. Anyone who knows anything about victims of severe trauma is they end up freezing in time. They can't talk about things. It really takes a strong, intelligent mind to help break a victim out of their shell and diagnose what's going on or get a feel for what's going on so that we can begin treatment. What's happened to my daughter is absolutely going to take years of therapy to mend here. And these things are probably going to stick with her for the rest of her life, no matter how much therapy. And it's really agonizing for me to have to live through this. But I'm glad that sharing it with you could really make a profound difference going forward in future cases and even past cases in which fathers like me have been egregiously steamrolled and violated, vilified, and the state's even attempted to extort me in all of this. So, we're going to fix it. Johnny Flynn seems to be a big help. I'll let this play on through without interrupting the rest of the way. I apologize. This guy's got some great contacts, disabled state advocate, media press contacts. He's going to hook me up real good. Pay attention real close. Learn a little bit about him. And like I said earlier, head on over to his page. Give him a subscription. Let him know Tyrant Slayer Studios sent you. Share his content with your friends. Give him a thumbs up or thumbs down on the videos that you like or dislike. Participate in his comment section. Let him know what you think, especially if you're local here in Connecticut. This man is fighting for us. He's fighting for everybody. So give him your time of day, and let's listen to what he has to say.
The judge wouldn't allow me to have my daughter speak for herself. They wouldn't allow me to get my daughter private representation. They forced me to use a GAL.
Now here we go. Ready? Let me say something.
Terminated a GAL.
Right. Let me say something. If there's a story that you want to take to the news, I can guarantee you Frank Recchia will cover it on any Saturday morning at 10 o'clock that you want. Okay? Channel 12.
I would love to do that right away. Maybe
okay. I can make that happen in a day. Though, what's best is Frank's girlfriend, Elizabeth Greenwood, okay? 9620232, I think is her number. 203 area code. She's the disabled advocate for one of the disabled advocates, okay, for the state. Now, the fact that your ex, or we call her your ex, has a drug history, right? Has a daughter who's 13 and transients, and you suspect that that your own daughter is suffering from some kind of what? She's having a psychosis, really, due to.
It's absolutely irrefutable that
right.
my daughter has been traumatized by the
trauma,
documented
right.
events that I have tangible physical evidence
right.
of occurring in that
okay.
house.
Do you know how many stories of this I've heard already? About 7 or 8. I'm not sure exactly, but there are situations in every town.
Yeah.
Mishandled.
And what scared me was seeing what you were willing to begin covering about sex trafficking. I've seen all this sex trafficking stuff come up, and it's like a scab. I worry every goddamn minute of every day.
Right. And by the way, you're really presenting well.
When I call for well-being checks, the police treat me like a nuisance.
Hold on. Right? I have a guy right now, today, having those checks done on a son who's 21, who's 6'3", who's violent, okay? He's had seizures. He's a drug addict. Hello. And he put 40 jacks inside their house while it was standing and raised the house off its foundation, disconnecting itself from the chimney, destabilizing the home structure completely.
Yeah, right. No,
and hold on, it just got condemned 2 days ago. We've been boarding the house up so nobody goes inside and dies because it's risky. You can see what they did. There's jacks on every level. They lifted the house off the stone structure on the basement an inch.
It's off of the foundation.
Right. And then the next layer, another inch. The beams are separating. Do you understand?
It's like Jenga. They turned the house into a Jenga game.
Hold on. The cops won't do a wellness check. They say, he's 21 now, we're not a babysitter. You understand?
Officer safety does not come before duty.
Hold on. He's assaulting people daily. Okay? And he's 6'3".
So he is able to get in and out of the house then? Safely.
We're not sure where this whole thing stands, but I've been going there.
I'm sure he's going to be covering this a lot more on his channel. It's a little off base here. It threw me off a little bit, to be honest, but still good interview yet. Stay tuned. Keep on watching. This is going to get great. Good, very good news is coming here.
Daily, right? I'm going tomorrow just for 1 hour just to check on it, right? But we went there for 9 hours one day, a couple days ago. We went for 12 hours yesterday. I was there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. last night. Why? We're putting in joist hangers to hold the roof connected to the house. It's not nailed anymore. And we shouldn't even be in there. And they can't condemn the building. The power is still on. Okay, you understand? The boiler is still operating. You understand?
That's one way of getting off grid.
Well, hold on. The mom, who's lovely, has a $150,000 problem that she didn't know about due to one of her 3 sons.
And this is their way of defending themselves?
One of 3 sons messing with the structure. Now, let's get back to your daughter. It's more important. What's happening with your daughter, you need an intervention, is what you really need. What you need is your next court date. You need 50 people in that courtroom.
The school won't even work with me. The guidance counselor over at my daughter's school, worthless. And I suspect that my
What's her name? Why don't you say it? What's her name? Tell me your name.
I don't have it offhand.
Okay, well then save it for a rainy day. But
yeah, you got it. No, I'll get it to her. Trust me.
Okay. Well then let's make this part 1. Let's make this part 1. Is that fair?
Yeah, sure.
And whatever you want to do, let's try to help this girl. Let's intervene. We've done interventions with Channel 12. I don't think we've never published them, but we've done them.
We don't want to rely on DCF, I'll tell you that right now. In fact, it was the fault of DCF, which I actually got in court record. I got them to admit in court.
Well, you know what the Democrats are, obviously, let me interrupt. The Democrats are daring me to do DCF stories. They're out.
I have a great DCF story for you.
Go ahead, lay it down. Try to condense it. Go.
Okay. DCF, when I decided to take them to trial and tried to call them out on their illegal activities, and it's called prior restraint.
Okay.
They were essentially threatening my family that they were going to take our kids for a 4-day stay if they couldn't see them and they couldn't talk to them and blah, blah, blah. And I knew everything she was doing was illegal, but our third son, Patrick, was just born. They're over there harassing my wife in the hospital. We just moved into a new apartment in Winstead, right on Main Street. Very quaint area, historical area, very nice area. We were very happy, very excited about the pregnancy and the delivery of our son. And then DCF storms into our lives. And no matter what I did, like, we didn't sign anything. I didn't cooperate with them to any degree to give them any sort of jurisdiction.
Why would you?
But this caseworker, Jennifer Lawler is her name. She's out of the Torrington County. I don't know if it's Torrington DCF.
Okay.
Responsible for the Winstead area. Yeah, Jennifer Lawler. Totally violated all of our rights. Stormed she asked to meet so that she could see our kids. My wife gets in the car, brings the kids down to the police department.
Was there a complaint?
No, there was. My wife. Okay, here's the thing. You're going to need this backdrop. When we were pregnant with twins, my wife and I are avid marijuana users. It doesn't adversely affect me in any way. It's a great motivator. It helps with a number of things for me. It's not for everybody. My wife is also was avidly using. Now, when we were pregnant with our twins, we were very open and transparent about that and had no problem at all working with all of the doctors.
So, hold on. Let me ask you a quick question. You think legalizing marijuana helps Connecticut's youth?
No, and I'm actually against the legalization under the premise that it's being legalized.
Right. Now, have you read all the cases about the laced marijuana? Have you read how many cases there are?
That stuff's going to be around whether or not it's legal or not. The thing I'm concerned with is, yes, it's going to have a detrimental effect.
Right.
I mean, it could.
And what about vaping products? What about vaping products?
I don't like vaping products at all. I don't think they've been out long enough for us to.
It's super harmful. It's super harmful to your lungs. Yeah.
You know, yeah, I'm a very practical, rational human being. I've got a math-based mind.
Right.
And my kids always come first. Health is always going to be number one.
Right. You sound like.
I'm very fair. I'm a very reasonable person. I don't outcast individuals for having.
I'm glad you're willing to talk about it because not a lot of people are.
I know, and that's because of, I believe, social media and just the 24/7 rampant media cycle that kind of jams down the social demands, the socially engineered demands of this new society of ours are constantly being pushed down the throats, not just on TV and social media, but in our...
Well, these people who are doing these things to some kids like your daughter, do they know that she, the mom, has heroin use in her history?
Well, that's the thing. I've presented police reports. I've presented...
now, why would you choose a heroin user over a recreational pot smoker? No, I don't smoke pot, or I've never,
No one in the court knows I smoke pot. And, like, at the time, my ex was out of the picture where DCF is involved. We're kind of jumping around here.
Okay.
But
I'm sure it's complicated. I'm sure it's very complicated.
Basically, DCF, I threatened to take them to trial, and then they, under prior restraint and the threat of duress, insisted upon doing checks on our house. They would come to our house every week, in which we had our attorney present every time, and the DCF caseworker never even opened our cabinets, never even once went into our bathroom to see where the kids bathed, never actually did any investigating or anything to file a...
You mean they had a preconceived notion?
They would sit on our couch and talk about vacation and where they're going this weekend and the family picnic, and then, okay, guys, have a nice day, right? And then the day of the trial, the day before trial, they say, oh, we withdraw our case because we essentially got what we were after anyway, which was making sure everything is okay. But this was because my son, Patrick, and I needed to give you, like, the backdrop first, but during the pregnancy of our twins, we had no problem.
Right.
And at St. Francis Hospital, they all knew that we were smoking pot and likely would continue smoking pot while breastfeeding. They said, well, they were real with us, practical. They said there is no data that suggests that that's unhealthy, and there is no data that suggests that that's beneficial. And we contested well.
Okay.
We have these peer-reviewed studies.
So now let's get on to the trauma of the daughter. Can you say anything about the trauma of the daughter?
Basically, the court...
She can't express herself, is what you're saying.
The court violated... She can't express herself, and she's been taken away from me under the threat of duress by misusing what's called the CAPIAS, which brings me back to your channel. I see you're doing the CAPIAS mortgage fraud thing. Well, the judge used a CAPIAS, a $5,000 CAPIAS, to get me to surrender the rights of my daughter. Now, here's the funny thing about this. It's September 2020, and I've successfully been able to keep her safe from May, the weekend I taken her.
So what? Well, listen. I'm going to introduce you to Andrew Pritchard when we're done.
Yeah.
You talk to him about that, okay?
Okay, great.
And
now,
by the way, there are cases you need to learn about that...
Oh, I know. I stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning reading case law. I read the Connecticut practice book. I've been very well self-taught to a degree, but I absolutely need some help.
Yeah. You know what? Did you see what Lamont did yesterday? He's going to make more attorneys more available to speed up the process of doing this crap.
Yeah. And everybody's wearing masks, hiding their face while they do it.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad my kids are... I'm glad my kids are 18 and 23 because yours are, what, 4, 5, and 7? 4, 6, and 7?
Yeah,
so you have a long way to go. You have a long way to go. So let's try to get you all the support you need. It's 29 minutes we're on. Let's try to keep it at 30. So why don't you try to wrap it up in 45 seconds?
All right. My daughter is in grave danger, and despite my greatest efforts, I have not been able to help her. There are things swinging into my favor at this point, but there are some serious judicial procedural requirement violations that need to be addressed, and a number of Connecticut officials that need to be held accountable and liable for the traumas and the terrible things that have happened to my daughter and around my daughter for the past year. Going to take
right. Let me ask you one more thing.
To overcome.
Let me ask you one thing. Now, you're doing these wellness checks, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't uncovered any heroin use, right?
They don't actually, they don't go and search the house or anything. They just ask the mother to come to the door and to see the daughter. And they say, "Hi, Araya. Are you Araya?" She says, "Yes." "Okay. Are you okay tonight?" She says, "Yes." You know, out of whatever fear. She's not going to be honest with a stranger. She's got, being in the presence of a police officer is actually kind of traumatic for her, too.
Right.
You know, so I hate doing it.
It's being a 13-year-old girl. Right.
What I've asked the police to do is to call me when they get there so that I can talk to my daughter.
Yes, why can't that be done? Why can't that be done?
From my life.
You have visitation rights, right?
I have daily parental access per court order, but I've been denied access since August. That's a criminal violation.
Well, let's make a request here. Let's make a request here. Since I got so many cops watching my site and telling me they do, why don't we try to find one in your area that's willing to do that?
I'd be surprised if you do, because I've been trying for a year. I've gone from
all right, let me see what I can do.
Sergeants to captains to lieutenants.
Let me see what I can do.
To enforce our laws.
By the way, you know, there are police commissioners that are judges. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Judge Spader is a police commissioner and a judge. He's the mortgage fraud asshole.
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
You would think.
Oh, speaking of conflict of interest, Judge Barry Armada used to work for the very same law firm that represents the plaintiff in my family court case.
You're kidding.
A criminal conflict of interest?
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
So he's doing them a favor. He used to be a partner there? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, there was a wink and there was a nod, and I'm sure there was gin on a Saturday night long before there was ever any ruling. They already knew what they were going to do to me.
So spell Barry's last name. Spell Barry's last name.
This is where it gets good, folks.
I'm sorry?
Spell Judge Barry's last name. A-R what?
It's A-R-M-A-T-A, or it might be two T's. It's A-R-M-A-T-T-A or A.
Okay, let me give that name to my friend Rick, who can backdoor that system and tell you everything about him. How about that?
And then there's
that is like the best music my ears have heard in a long time.
Jennifer Mazurowski too. Let me get you her spelling.
Oh, I got Mazurowski. That one I understood.
Yeah, her too. She's the one that had to recuse herself after she.
For what reason? For what reason?
She basically violated judicial procedural protocol.
How?
And I called her out on it.
Like a canon? She violated a canon of conduct?
Yeah, she did not follow the rules of the court at all.
Did
was
she?
Not adhering to the Connecticut practice book.
Did you write a complaint to?
The plaintiff's lawyer used that against her to get a ruling that he wanted.
Did you complain to Judge Carroll?
No, I was overwhelmed with the whole case.
Oh, I would call him. The chief court administrator.
When all this is over, I can go and file the complaints and everything.
Right, here we go. We have a guy asking for everyone to go to the FBI website in Connecticut and file complaints against judges that are corrupt as the day is long. I'm talking, you know, this mortgage fraud thing is Casanova Creek and, you know, the other guys.
Get yourselves familiar with this gentleman. It's worthy of note and even worthy of coming out to Connecticut to cover. This is big time stuff.
The law firm there has, you know, 7,000 misconducts. We're not talking about, And by the way, it's not about the party, because both parties are doing it. But when the DNC chair, right, runs the law firm, which is happening, where there are multiple frauds upon the court. When you look at the data and the magnitude, right? Yeah, well, why isn't the mix of judges correct? Why is there 15 Democratic judges in Stanford Superior Court and only one Republican? When the population is 29% Republican, you would think they would...
Yeah, they have no representation there.
Right. So here we go. I don't know what your mix is, but it sounds like you're really on the way. The only way you were able to protect the boys that you have was being on the ball.
Of course. It was the DCF experience I had when my third son, Patrick, was born.
Right. So here we go. There are people out there with no experience, There are people out there that need to watch your video, right?
Precisely. I'm there to educate, not just
right.
fellow
You're an
citizens, but
advocate.
law enforcement too. This is
Right.
good for everybody.
Hold on. I have DCF. Do you know Joyce the Voice?
The name rings a bell.
Okay. She worked on the Theodoro case of the woman from Kentucky driving through Connecticut who had her fetus inside her stomach cut out with...
Yes, please listen to this very carefully and give that story some time on your channel too. You know who you are.
Without her consent. Driving through the state. No permission. They human trafficked, stole a baby in utero, gave it to the judge, and the judge gave it to the clerk. His own clerk. Her own clerk. That judge is named Figura. Sanchez Figura. Fegeuoria, I think. So, like I'm saying, people run into these people like someone in the future that runs into Barry Armada, right? Or Jennifer Mazurowski, right?
Yeah, she doesn't even brush her hair before she gets to the bench. It looks like she shows up half, hung over off of the 16 bottles of wine she was drinking. In fact, she schedules a hearing for 9:30 a.m. I show up at 9 o'clock. I've got it. Recorded record. 9:30 a.m., right? I'm a half hour early. It's irrefutable that she says that. I have the evidence of it. And then I'm sitting there with my thumb up my ass until 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the afternoon, and I got the court monitor telling me, no, I got it recorded right here on the monitor. She said 12 o'clock. Well, I've got video right here that says you're both full of shit.
Uh-oh. Hey, easy. The language. Good.
Sorry. Oh, yeah,
it's okay. Jennifer Mazurowski, Judge, Connecticut. Hold on. Let me see what comes up. Oh, wait a minute. Well.
She's been on the bench for a couple, 3 years.
Okay. Well, Jennifer Mazurowski. Maybe I spelled her name wrong. Mazarowski?
I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. Please bear with me.
No worries. Because people who run into this judge should know.
Yeah, we really need to...
People already know Barry Armada, and they know Mazurowski very well. I get emails from these people. I get messages, DMs on Facebook from a lot of Connecticut citizens who have been unfairly treated and persecuted by the family court system. Righteous parents whose children have gone to abusive homes, abusive mothers, just because they're their mother. I guess it's okay in the state of Connecticut to be an abusive mother. You're still allowed to be their mother and totally neglect and abuse your kids and leave them open to, things like fentanyl and terrible, terrible traumatic environmental factors that will long linger with these children into their adult years. Terrible what this state is doing.
Address the corruption in the Rockville family.
Oh, here it is. I found her.
Been emailed by by dozens
I
of
found her.
fathers
Clinical
and
social
absolutely
work
violated.
therapist. Oh, she's in Tacoma, Washington. This can't be her.
No. Let's see here.
Psychology
Her name is
Today.
spelled, let's see. It's
Does it have one N or two?
I'll tell you in a second. I'm on the judicial site right now looking through my case file.
Okay.
It's M-A-C-I-E-R
Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay. Yep.
O-W-S-K-I. Nazarowski.
Lawyer in Hartford, Connecticut. Hold on. Jennifer Ann Masarowski. Okay, it doesn't say she's a judge here, but hold on. Well, you said she was made a judge 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, she's been on the bench for a couple, 3 years. I had pulled up some information on her before. Hang on, I'll try to find it for you.
Judge Jennifer. Vernon Judge ends eviction saga. Hold on.
Yeah, I see that.
Jennifer a Superior Court judge, 19 Courthouse, 20 Park Street, Rockville, Connecticut, ruling. Malloy nominates 2 more to the bench. Oh boy.
Yep. Yeah, that's the report I got here. That's the one I was looking for. It's loading up now here. Let me see.
Yukon Law School, graduate of Amherst, has worked for the Senate Republican caucus.
She is an evil woman that hates men.
Here we go. Republicans question funding for 30 judges. Hold on. This is interesting. I'm looking at a picture. Hold on. House Republican leader Themis, she's running for governor, of Derby.
Really?
And said each new judge costs $300,000, including the annual salary of $167,000. Clearly, we do not have enough available funds to staff or even caseloads to justify putting 30 more people on the bench. Okay.
I would like to take her immunity and sue her and prosecute her. Same with Barry Armada. That's my objective here. They lose their immunity for their misconduct that has jeopardized the life and the safety and the mental health of my poor little girl for all of this time. And their court clerks have been obstructing access to all the records to this case. In fact, they were in violation of Connecticut.
Oh, here. Ready? I'm reading about everything here. All what Malloy said, what Lamont said, and all these people. And then at the bottom, it says the Chief Court Administrator, Judge Patrick L. Carroll III, told Claritas in writing that the judicial branch does not have enough staff members to help the judges who are currently working. Now that's the Chief Court Administrator, okay? This article was written on April 27th, 2018, okay? So, let's wrap it up there, that it's a funding issue, okay? B. Clearly,
the court didn't even get legal jurisdiction over me to begin proceeding in this case. They had a marshal crawl on the floor like an infant baby during my first hearing and slide a self-represented appearance form across the table on which he had made notations with a blue ink pen. I don't know what those notations were for, but he said, "You need to sign this."
To you.
I asked the judge if I had to sign it, or if the judge I asked the judge, "Did you ask me to sign anything?" The judge said no, and I said, "I don't know what this document is, and this man is telling me I need to sign it. I don't know what it is, and I need to speak with legal representation to identify this."
So they denied you an attorney, is what you're saying.
they forced me to sign a self-representing appearance form. They made me show up to court to sign that piece of paperwork. And I was battered by a marshal in the courtroom that day, moments after the judge walked out because I refused to sign that piece of paper. He ripped it out of my hand, destroyed the evidence.
Really?
It damaged my property.
Okay,
Yeah.
ask Andrew. Remember I said I'm going to introduce you to Andrew Pritchard? Ask Andrew that question. That's the second question you need to ask him, okay?
Yes, sir.
I have my own opinions about these things, but he can quote the law, the rule,
Right.
by word by word. And me, I mean, I know the difference between right and wrong, but
Right.
I'll tell you what just happened right there is a misconduct issue. The question is whether it's administrative or judicial.
And there you have that, folks. I think I'm going to stop it there. I don't think we need to go on any further than that. We're coming up on an hour here. There is more to this. I would encourage all of you to watch the remaining, looks about like 13, maybe 15 minutes of this video on John Flynn's channel. Show him the support. Let him know Tyrant Slayer Studios sent you. Thanks for tuning in. You can look forward to my conversation with the state's attorney who was presiding over the criminal court case, criminal charges that were looming over me for the last 5-6 weeks that have recently been dropped. I promised I'd get you that, and as promised, I will deliver. It's just been, a crazy week. I got a lot of kids here. I'm sure you understand. There's a lot going on. Being rather excited about my newfound friend, I decided to I needed a break today. I spent a lot of time with the kids. The new Ghostbusters is out. If you haven't seen the new Ghostbusters, and you're a kid from the 80s, please check that out. It was a very moving movie. However, it was kind of predictable. Well, not necessarily. I've just got a sharp mind, and I don't want to sound conceited, but I knew exactly what we were looking at. About 7 minutes into the movie, I knew exactly how it was going to end. I called it from beginning to end. It was great. My wife wonders how I do that every time, but outstanding movie. My kids loved it. We hung out a lot today. It was a good day. The boys are very much looking forward to having their sister return home, and my wife and I are very much looking forward to that as well. And I think with your support and the support of our new friend John Flynn, who goes on to mention the disabled state advocate, she's got some pretty strong connections to Richard Blumenthal and things of that nature. And the good word is that she can help tremendously in FOIAs and things of that nature by CCing the right people and essentially yielding immediate responses. So I think that's going to prove to be very fruitful. And I'm very eager to begin speaking further with Mr. John Flynn. I would hope that you're eager to learn more about who he is and what his senatorial campaign in the state of Connecticut is all about. And you could do that by visiting 2022 John Flynn. He's got 668 subscribers. Let's try to get him up to 1,000. I'm not asking for a lot. I never ask anybody for anything. I don't put out a bucket for money or anything here on my channel. But I do ask that my audience head on over to certain channels sometimes and show them some love. And this is one of those channels. This guy is very much worth all of our time, and I would hope that you would give him some of your time so that you can determine yourself whether or not he's worth your time. I have to say that he's got my blessing, and I do believe he is. So with that said, get on over to his channel and check it out. We will see you here next time on Tyrant Slayer Studios, where we will be presenting my conversation with the state's attorney that took place on December the 13th. My very first court hearing for the criminal charges that have recently been dropped. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.
I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion.
You have all the money in the world, you have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? Like I said, the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society.
What's your name and your badge number?
Party in the garden, the tower's falling, love in the summertime.
Subject 97D fishing. He also has an AR-15 and a Glock.
Unified, feeling oh so unified. In the lockdown, in the lockdown.
I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Every day, it's a gift. That's why we call it the blessing. We were born on the garden of Eden, with the flowers growing and little birds chirping. I was in the garden just having a laugh, till I met a monster cross my path. Hey girl, do you want some more trilla? I could get you lit up one or two ways. What's it gonna be, man? What's it gonna be, man? Say it, I feel like the whole world was begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me. Say it, I forgot the whole world begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the blessing. Every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the blessing.
Britney Spears, can we be saved?
We were going in a direction that was irreversible. This was not an election. This was a revolution. This was irregular warfare at its finest. We have what we call citizen journalists. We have an army of digital soldiers. You're here because you've made a decision about something in your life. You can't sit back. You have a responsibility. We must. You have to fight for this country.
He's going to be better like a...
Well, what's suspicious about just walking in public? I think a lot of what police do is suspicious, but...
I'm sure you do, but that's why I'm checking on you.
Sure, you do not have permission to open my door. I don't have to roll the window down. Give me my paperwork.
Why am I being asked to leave? Yeah.
Excuse me. Look at this.
Is a gift.